Hi everyone, welcome back. This is going to be my first anti-haul video and it's going to be different because it's going to be on just one product, which is the Too Faced Natural Love Palette. This video is just going to take you behind the scenes, kind of go into my brain and share with you the techniques and things that I do when I look at a palette that is as beautiful as this one, that it has the most amazing combination of eyeshadows, shades, and just the kind of colors that I like to use and how I can resist the temptation of buying it. So, hopefully, some of the tips that I will share with you in this video will help you if you can't really buy the palette at the moment, if you are trying to stay, in your project pan or you're trying to use up what you have in your collection. Well, hopefully, this will be something that will help you. Now, I have to say, if you're new to makeup, you don't have many eyeshadows, if you are the kind of person that like neutrals, if you collect makeup, this video is probably not going to help you because this is a beautiful and amazing palette. But if you're anything like me and you already have a lot of eyeshadows in your collection, well, this is for you. Just sharing with you what I do when I want to resist the temptation to buy something as beautiful as this palette. It has a combination of the Natural Eyes, Natural Matte, and Natural at Night palettes in this. So you will find some repeat colors from those classic palettes. And it also has a combination of new shades that are limited edition to this palette, of course. And this palette itself is limited edition. So it was kind of good that they added new shades that might repeat in the future, but they're totally new to this palette. Now, I was browsing the Too Faced website, and they have different countries where they ship or work with, like Canada, Ireland, Mexico, and the UK. And when I opened the website, it said, "Hello, gorgeous, get 20% off of your first purchase," which I don't know if it will be for all around the world or if just for here. But can you see right there? Please note this item is not eligible for discounts or promotions. So, oh snap, we can't really apply that discount to this palette, which would be nice because it would take it down to 47.20. Now, it includes a combination of eyeshadows that it has 7 mattes. So, yeah, it looks more matte than it is. It only has 7, 13 shimmers, and 10 sparkle shades. It's a beautiful palette. So, the first thing I do is I look at the palette up close so I can kind of get an idea of the shades that are included in this palette. And after that, if I really find that I'm attracted to the colors, the next thing I do is go into the Temptalia website. I will link her in the description box down below. So she will show you the palette as a whole and then go through each one of the shades. And underneath those shades, the color itself and the swatch, it will give you a description. For example, the Too Faced Honey Pot is a warm gold with a frost finish that is permanent and retails for $16 and how much product you get. So you not only get the swatch, you don't only get the close up of the eyeshadow, but you, with that description, can look into your collection and see if you can find something that is warm gold with a frost finish. And that description of color is something very popular that I'm sure you can find in a Naked palette, this one in particular, Honey Pot, or, the Lorac Pro, that is not that different. So let's start with the first color. The first color is Heaven, and it's a warm beige with a matte finish. I found my dupe, and I included dupes from the Temptalia website, but this is what I do. I go one by one, each one of these shades, and try to find something that I like in my collection that it's pretty similar. And in this case, I found this color in Matte Smith from the Meet Matte palette. So I included extra ones, but the Meet Matte Smith, it's a perfect dupe for this one. Then I moved on to the next shade, which is Fairy Tale. This is a warm gold with a sparkle finish. Not my favorite. I didn't feel like I needed to find a dupe for this one. As you can see on the right corner, it's very sheer with a lot of glitter. So I'm sure I have something in another Too Faced limited edition palette that would go with this description and actually this shade, but it's not something that I enjoy enough to go ahead and just try to find it in my collection. Now, the next one is the color Nudie. This is beautiful. This is a warm taupe with a matte finish. This is from the permanent line, and I found a dupe for this in the Matrimony palette. Now, most of the colors, matte colors that you'll find in this palette, I think you can kind of dupe them with a matte palette. So if you have that collection, I'm sure you're gonna find the dupes in there, but it's really a beautiful color. Also, the next one is Tickle Me. This is a warm brown with a frost finish. This is a beautiful shade, but as you can see right there, it's not that unique. It's one of those shades that is included in most of the palettes. Some of the drugstore ones, I have a Wet and Wild trio that has a brown with the same undertone. So it's beautiful, but I already have something in my collection very, very similar. Now, this next shade is the color Don't Settle, which is described as a warm brown with a frost finish. That it actually, in my opinion, looks a little bit more green or olive green than any others. And I do have an olive green that I like in one of my balm or the balm palette that I enjoy, and I'm sure I can use that one if I wanted to. Then this other one is Fingers Crossed, and it's a beautiful warm brown with a satin finish. You're going to see this shade over and over again in the swatches that I'm going to show you. I mean, it's not exactly this shade, but a warm brown with a satin finish with sparkles. Not my favorite shade. So let's move on to the next one, which is Lace Teddy. This is a warm peach with a satin finish. This is also from the permanent line, and it's not my favorite color. I do have a very similar one in one of the Meat Matte palettes, and it's very, very similar. If I wanted something a little bit more pink, I can use Strawberry Bonbon. Not the kind of shade that I would love. Then the next one is Satin Sheets, and this is a warm pink with a frost finish. Now, this is kind of unique and different because it's pink, but as you can see, it looks a little bit more gold, but it's still, even if it looks pink, I have a gold that looks like that in my collection in one of my Wet and Wild palettes. So the next color that we have is the Push Up eyeshadow, and this is a warm brown with a metallic finish. Can we see the trend right here? I'm sure I can find a color like this in my Too Faced chocolate bar. The bottom three shades are very, very similar. Some of them have a little bit more of a warm undertone, gold undertone. It's just a matter of, it's a warm brown. Whatever undertone it may have. This is a beautiful color, not something that I'm crazy about, and I would totally purchase this palette because of this color, but I know I have something in my collection that is very similar. Now, this other color is Honey Pot, and this is a warm gold with a frost finish. This is a beautiful gold, but I have exactly the same one, or at least it looks exactly the same. And well, it's half baked, so it's pretty much the same. It's in my Naked 2 palette. So I don't feel the need to, repurchase that or find something. I just think that I already have that color. So the next one is Chocolate Martini, and this is a warm brown with a satin finish. Once again, a warm brown with a satin finish and a different undertone. I don't need something that dark with shimmer in my collection, to be honest with you. The next one is a color Undercover. This is a warm brown, again, with a sparkle finish. So a warm brown, but then they added a little bit of glitter. I use up Black Forest Truffle from the Too Faced chocolate bar, and at the end, I really did enjoy it, but it's just one of those shades that I had to push myself to use it, and I don't really find myself using that kind of shade, so I don't need it. Then I have the color Pink Cheeks. This is a warm pink with a satin finish. Another pink that it's included in this, and I'm sure if you like pink, you will love the different shades of pink that you'll find in this palette. But I have one, I think it's in the Walking on an Eggshell, and it's actually a lot prettier than this one and a lot more pigmented. And it really didn't impress me. This other color is Kittens, and it's another pink. This is actually a cool pink with a frost finish. I don't know. It just doesn't look right on me, this kind of shade. So I wasn't trying to find a dupe in my collection, but I still found a dupe in another Wet n Wild palette. Now, keep in mind, I have some of the limited edition palettes from Wet n Wild, but I'm just telling you, it's not that special of a pink. The next one, it's another pink, and this is a bunny nose. This is a warm pink with a frost finish. Yeah, it is a little bit more warm, but it's nothing that I'd be, going crazy if I didn't have in my collection. I just find that pinks, it would suit certain, skin colors, and I would use pink, but not often enough to use or buy this shade. Then the next one is Moonbeam, which is one of the most beautiful shades in here, but I found something similar. Very, very similar in my Naked 2 palette. It's a little bit more dark, but it's similar. It just would never, if this was a single eyeshadow, I wouldn't go and purchase it. The next one is the color Bug, and this is a warm plum with a frost finish. This is kind of a unique shade because it's a plum and you don't have any other plums in this palette, at least not this deep, but it's too dark and it has shimmers, so I would have to use it all over the lid because I don't like it in my outer corner that much with that much shimmer, and I don't like it on my crease with that much shimmer. So how am I going to use up that color? I have no idea, so I'm not interested. Then the next one is the color Smoking, which is another kind of olive. It's described as a warm brown with a sparkle finish, but it actually looks a little bit more olive to me. As you can see, you have quite a few dupes that you can find, and they're from, they have from different brands. They have from MAC, they have some drugstores, some other things that you may have already in your collection. And I think this is pretty similar to Gilded Ganache. Yeah, it's beautiful, but it's not for me. Then the next color is Poodle, which is a cool pink with a pearl finish. Another cool pink. Yeah, again, I don't need that many pinks. So, this palette is beautiful, but as I'm going through each one of the shades and seeing comparison and seeing swatches and seeing, similar shades that I already have in my collection, I know it's one of those shades that I don't really use. So the next one is Cutie Patootie, which is a beautiful shade. I have to say it, but I do have quite a few different other eyeshadows that are exactly the same. One is from Hickory that I got from the um, one of my latest Ipsy, and it's actually a cream eyeshadow, but it's exactly the same. So yeah, it's beautiful, but no, I wouldn't go and buy the palette for this. Then I also have the color Dear Diary, which is another beautiful shade. It's described as a warm brown with a metallic finish. Yeah, again, another warm brown with a metallic finish. It looks a little bit more gold than anything, but nothing that I don't have already in my collection. And even if I didn't have something exactly like this, I'm sure I can mix some of my gold eyeshadows and come up with something similar. It's not my favorite shade either. It's beautiful, but it's not something that I use every single day. Then I have the next one, which is Coffee Date, which is a beautiful shade, but this is a warm brown with a frost finish and another warm brown with a different finish. Again, if it was a matte, I would use it in the outer corner because it's a deep shade, but I don't see myself putting that color in my all over the lid, so it's not something that I'm interested in. Then the next color is Spoil, which is a warm brown with a frost finish. Again, it's just too dark for all over the lid. And if I'm going to use something that dark, it needs to go in an area where I usually use a matte. So if you're into this kind of shade, this is totally personal preference. The next shade is Night Fever, and this is another warm brown with a satin finish. Now, if you're going through each one of these shades with me, then yeah, it's another warm brown that I wouldn't use all over the lid, and it does have shimmer. So I don't know how, it's just not what I like in an eyeshadow. So yeah, it's pretty, but I don't see me using it. The next color is Spotlight. This is a warm yellow with a matte finish, which is beautiful. I have something similar in one of my matte palettes, and I use that shade over and over again. And if I didn't have it in my collection, I would totally purchase a single of this color. It's just beautiful. And keep in mind, I do have a yellow undertone, so I think that's why I love so much this kind of shade. But yeah, that's beautiful. The next one is something that, yeah, I would purchase in a single if I find something like this. This is a warm brown with a matte finish. This is Honey Butter, but I already have something like that in one of my Meat Matte palettes. So yeah, it's beautiful. And as soon as I'm done with the one that I have from the Balm, I'm sure this is going to be one of the shades that I would totally repurchase it. But even though I love it in this palette, I already have something similar in my collection. Then I have Honeymoon. This is actually a warm coral with a frost finish, not something that I would wear every single day, but it's a nice shade that I already have something similar in a dupe of the Naked 3 that I have. Now, this is the color Hot and Bother. This is a warm copper with a pearl finish. This is kind of darker, but I have something similar in my Lorac Pro, and it's not my favorite shade too, so keep that in mind. Then I have the color Makeup and Chill, which is a beautiful warm brown. Once again, with a matte finish, which is something that I would totally wear, but I have something similar in my Lorac Pro palette. And finally, I have the color Stiletto, which is a cool black with a matte finish that is also a limited edition, but I have something that I like better than this. Actually, doesn't, it's swatch much, much better, and it's from my Naked 2 palette. So, color Blackout. So, overall, this is a very nice palette, but if you take the time to go through each one of the shades and you start reading the description and you start to realize that they repeat over and over, like they're a warm brown with this, warm brown with that. And if you're the kind of person who loves warm browns, deeper warm browns, this might be the perfect palette for you. I am just going through each one of the shades and sharing with you what I think about them, how would I use it in me, that it would make it look, that I would make this palette worth it. So in my opinion, it's a really nice palette. It's a great quality. I'm sure that, you would enjoy it, but I'm not going to purchase it just because going through each one of the shades, I know that the colors that I like, I have something similar in my collection that can totally replace them. So let me know if you like this kind of videos. I can do more like this if you're interested in kind of my thoughts behind, why not purchasing different products, and especially eyeshadow palettes, because, foundation, concealers, and all that kind of stuff, it varies the formula. But if you're interested in seeing, the new releases with the palettes and things that I have similar in my collection, let me know. I'll be happy to do that. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.